Whenever you try to Google DevOps, you are thrown with a lot of options, whether those are tools, lot of processes. But do you ever realize that why there was need of DevOps? Things were being developed before DevOps as well. Why there is a sudden boom in DevOps? We'll try to uncover that in this video. The agenda of this video will be to understand why we needed DevOps, what is DevOps, and the DevOps lifecycle. Before you try to understand why DevOps, we need to dig into the history that why this thing was ever needed. Before DevOps was in the picture, development was done by using waterfall model. In waterfall model, what happens? We used to do requirement gathering, system design, coding, testing, deployment, and maintenance. And everything was dependent on deliverable of the previous one. So you cannot execute things in parallel. Due to this, one iteration of a waterfall model used to take 6 to 12 months, depending on the project complexity. So requirement would be broken into pieces of milestones, and those milestones will take between 6 to 12 months every iterations, because you cannot develop and test at the same time. Tester will have to wait until coding is finished. Deployment team have to wait until testing is finished. So due to this dependency, this used to take a lot of time. But since for complex projects this was fine, it was running well, there used to be very less deployments. But this model had some shortfalls. We'll have a look at the shortfalls now. The biggest problem with this model was that a working software is produced until very late during the life cycle. Integration is done very late, and testing period comes quite late in the development process. You cannot accommodate the client's valuable feedback, and it is very, very difficult to measure the progress with stages. These are the problems. Within this development cycle, we had our culture between dev and ops. Every time development team will be like, it is working fine in dev, it is your problem now. Or rather, a different kind of debate will be there. Dev team will be saying that it works on my computer, that is your problem now. Then ops team is like, but we are not going to give your computer to the client. It has to work in the production system as well. So this is kind of a boundary between these teams who are the result of this model. Because every team is responsible for different area rather than the product deliverable. With this problem came a solution called agile. Agile is a different methodology for developing softwares, where you have few role which changed the industry for forever. You have a product owner. Product owner is responsible for working with client, working with your customers, getting the feedback, building the roadmap of your product. And they work very closely with the Scrum Master. Scrum Master job is to work on those requirements, break it into sprints, and then work with a set of team members, and those team members are from different background. They will be developers, architects, operation, and tester. The way they work, that they have these steps with every requirement. You plan, you design, develop, test, deploy, review, and launch in every 15 days. So the beauty of this model was that you can develop and you can test and you can deploy together, because you have broken the requirements into small pieces, and then you're developing it, testing it, and launching small features at every 15 days. That changed a lot of things. And since in the waterfall model, you're deploying once 3 months, once in a month, over here you're deploying every 15 days in production at least, or it could be much faster. In these days, companies are deploying daily 100 or 200 times. So, I mean, for this agile model, this thing really changed the scene for DevOps engineers, and there was a boom of DevOps engineers that you need somebody who can deploy, who can build your pipelines. We'll look at the different practices. So talking about agile, this is how they work. There is one more thing which helps, which is being done by Scrum Master and the team, which is sprint grooming. At start of the sprint, they sit, they groom all the tickets, they make their sprint planning that these are the things which we'll be working on in next 15 days, and that's the process which gets iterated every 15 days. They have daily stand up to keep a check on the progress, so there's a visibility. You can always know that you are in green, blue or red. That really helped it. After that, they have sprint retro. So these things are done by the team. So this retro is about understanding what we did wrong, what could have been right, and from next sprint they try to make those improvements which was done wrong last time. So that's the time when the things shifted from waterfall to agile. Things really changed very fast, and we started delivering pretty faster. So this is about why DevOps. Since we have understood why DevOps, let's try and understand now what is DevOps. What is DevOps? DevOps is a set of practice that combines software development and IT operations. It basically aims to reduce the life cycle and provide continuous delivery with high software quality. DevOps is complementary with agile software development. It is not a replacement of agile. DevOps is more of a cultural change which makes ownership a priority and kills the boundaries between teams making their common goals. If you go through these 4 points, you just understand one thing, that what is DevOps? It is consist of 3 things. 1, you need to change your culture. 2nd, you need to follow some set of practices. And 3rd is the tools is equal to DevOps. If you're missing any key pillars, you are not following DevOps. We'll go through one by one and try to understand that how we're going to address these 3 things while practicing DevOps. First thing is DevOps practices. Let's address that. There are few practices which we must follow if you want to do and follow DevOps in our respective teams. First is continuous integration. It basically helps you to build your code continuously, get the quick feedback. Continuous deployment is about being deployment ready every time, anytime, and keep testing your deliverables on a regular basis. Same goes for continuous testing. The 4th option is infrastructure as code, which talks about keeping your infrastructure as a code so you are deployment ready anytime with configurations as well. Last point is observability, which basically talks about monitoring, logging, tracing. Since we learned about the DevOps practices, let's talk about the tech choices to practice DevOps. So first thing was CI and CD, which is also called continuous integration and deployment. There are lot of tools, but these are most popular tools: Bamboo, Excel Deploy, GitLab, Octopus, Circle CI, Jenkins and Azure Pipeline. You can use any of these, you don't have to use all of them. Second thing is testing and deployment, basically the platform. So you have Selenium, JUnit, Docker, Terraform, Kubernetes, Consul, JFrog, Istio and Helm. Fourth part is observability, which talks about logging, monitoring, and tracing. You have Fluentd, Stackdriver, Elasticsearch, Nagios, Grafana, Prometheus. These tools are the very popular ones. I highly recommend you to go to this link, landscape.cncf.io. You'll be able to learn a lot from this place, and you'll be updated with the latest thing happening in this DevOps scenario. Since we addressed the practice and the tools, let's address the culture part. With agile coming into the picture, everybody is working together for a common goal, which is to deliver the system on a certain day. That really changed the way team used to think. And since you have adopted the DevOps practices and you have tools to support that kind of thinking, teams started working on you build, you ship, if it fails, it's your problem model. Then it becomes there's no silo, lot of collaboration between development, testing, architecture, DevOps. Everybody is working together. We started automating a lot and we started sharing the responsibilities. That was the day when it became Dev versus Ops to DevOps. So that's how you address these three things, right? So we have learned so far why we needed DevOps, what is actually DevOps, and how do we address it. Let's go to the next slide, which is benefits of DevOps. The major benefit is that reducing the time to market. You can deploy new features much faster. Super quick feedback with practice such as CI, flexibility to manage unplanned work, accommodate the client feedback very quickly. Reliable infrastructure, transparency and trust. Increase in system leads to significant improvement in the product quality. So these practices are helping you to build things faster and much reliable softwares. Today, DevOps is also a highly misunderstood concept. Anything under the sun is not DevOps. We must know what is not DevOps. DevOps is definitely not a separate team to look after build and infrastructure and releases. It is not just adoption of some set of tools which will do any magic for you. That's never going to happen. You cannot keep knowledge with certain individuals, and without democratizing the knowledge, you're not following DevOps. It doesn't mean development team is in charge now, as it's one team with one goal. Any problem within the system, it goes to entire team, not to a respective individual. So far, we learned why DevOps, why we needed DevOps, from waterfall to agile and then to DevOps. We understood what is DevOps. It is basically cultural change, set of practices and tools. That means what DevOps. We understood the tech choices we have to practice DevOps. We understood the benefits of DevOps. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video, where we'll talk more about how we should practice CI, CD, and the observability part. Thanks for your time. Subscribe to my channel, drop a comment.